Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. How are we doing today? Thanks for joining us for News 5 Now at 8 o'clock. I'm Shimani Baker. Bill Riles is out on assignment for today. We've got a lot of things to cover. It's a beautiful day outside. If you are watching, comment down below how you are feeling today. We are in the second day of the week. Monday was pretty good for me. How about for you all? We'd love to hear from you. We're going to get started with our top stories in just a second.
Brought to you by Green & Phillips, covering news from your neighborhood and around the world. News 5 Now starts right now.
And we always start off with our top stories for the day. Number 5, a second WAWA will open on Thursday in Pensacola. A grand opening ceremony is planned for the new convenience store on West 9 Mile Road near Beulah Road, beginning at 7:45 that morning. You might want to get there early. The first 100 guests get a free t-shirt and food sample. Now listen, I went to the opening in Fairhope, I believe, when they opened a WAWA. I believe that was sometime last year. I had a lot of fun, a lot of great food. If you go, you have to try the hoagie and an iced coffee. A hoagie and an iced coffee and a cheese quesadilla are my top 3. Number 4, a former Alabama state representative from our area has passed away. Mary Zogby represented Mobile and Montgomery from 1978 to 1994. She was the driving force of legislation in 1985 known as the Zogby Act that moved Mobile from a 3-person commission to a mayor-council form of government. Huge deal. Visitation will be Wednesday morning from 8 to 9 at St. Pius, the 10th Catholic Church in Mobile. Mary Zogby was 86 years old. Number 3. University of South Alabama quarterback Gio Lopez is entering the transfer portal. Lopez is heading into his junior season with 2 years of eligibility remaining. As a true freshman, he stepped in for the injured Carter Bradley and played 5 games for the Jags. He completed 41 of his 61 passes for 475 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. The Madison, Alabama native entered the 2024 season as the starting quarterback for South. Number 2, today is the final day for most people to file their 2024 tax returns. However, if you live in Alabama or Florida, you have until May 1st to file. And that's because those states are covered by a federal emergency management agency disaster declaration. So you've got a little bit more time to file those taxes. And number 1 for us this morning, 2 companion bills requiring Alabama public schools to display the 10 Commandments are one step closer to being passed. The Senate and House bills have moved out of committee and are now set to go before both legislative chambers for a vote. If passed, the measures would require each Board of Education to display a copy of the 10 Commandments in a common area of each school. Louisiana passed a similar measure last year, but it has since been blocked by a federal judge. I believe once before we had, how do you feel about the 10 Commandments being in public schools as a question of the day? I want to hear from you. If you're watching this right now, comment down below to see, let me know how you feel about this. 10 Commandments in most schools in Alabama, how would you feel about that? Well, we're going to move over to our actual question of the day for today, which is, let me scroll up if I can see it. There we are. What exotic animal would you like to have as a pet? You know, back in the day, there was a mall where I was from, and people were there selling, oh gosh, I can't think of their name, sugar gliders. Sugar gliders. They're like little squirrels, but they can let their arms out and they fly. I've always wanted a sugar glider. My mom was always like, sister, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Summer says 1,000% an otter. I would let him live in my guest bathtub. Not sure a bathtub would be enough space for an otter, Summer, but I like where you're going with that. Tracy says exotic animals ought to be left wild and free. I can agree with you there. Marilyn says a panther. Not when they get too big, though. You don't want those problems when they get a certain size. Linda says a skunk. Somebody says a sugar glider. Hey, me too. Me too. I'm not alone. Leslie says a sea turtle. I see a sloth. I see a puma. You guys are creative. Okay. I'm liking these. A gator. I don't know how I feel about a gator. Red fox squirrels. What's up with all the panthers and tigers? I don't know, guys. Snow leopards. I see a lizard, a lemur, a big cat. I don't know. I'm going to have to disagree on the big cat ones. They get pretty scary, especially when they get big. You don't want a big cat when their nails start growing out. Our poll of the day is, do you like the fact that the Gulf Coast is a spring break destination? I feel a little mixed about this. I have mixed reviews about this. Obviously, being from the Gulf Coast and it's spring break and you're, a teenager, you're right there. You're at home. You don't have to travel. You can go out to the beach. No problem. However, when you get a little older and, you have errands to run, and you're like, where is all this traffic coming from? Then you're like, okay, it's time for y'all to go home. Thank you for visiting. Go home now. So I can see both sides of this. What are you guys saying? Someone says it's good revenue for this part of the state, but it's an inconvenience to the locals when it comes down to traffic. Exactly. Heck no, but it is what it is. All right. A lot of people are saying I like it very much. Okay. So, again, mixed reactions in the comments, but that's why we have these polls and questions, because we want to hear from you. You can go to our Facebook page if you haven't already. Make sure you are liking and subscribing to the page first, and then chiming in on our question and polls of the day, and we'll share your response right here on News 5 Now. Thank y'all so much for joining us, as always, at 8 o'clock. You can catch me tomorrow morning from 4:30 to 7 a.m., and again here on Facebook at 8 o'clock. Thank y'all so much. Have an amazing Tuesday. It's going to be beautiful outside. I believe it's supposed to get a little bit chillier throughout the week, so make sure you grab those jackets tomorrow. But other than that, it should be nice. Thank y'all again. Have a great day. See you later.
Covering news from your neighborhood and around the world. You are watching News 5 Now, brought to you by Green & Phillips.